How's it going, guys? Welcome to Monday's upload. Now, for those of you keeping track at home, there should be a number 300 somewhere along here, right above this brand new Ho-Oh I got off of eBay because I got bored and I was like, you know what, let's look on eBay and I found a Ho-Oh. So, first off, 300, that's a fucking lot of editing, battling, narrating, uploading, just the whole process in general. And I've done it over 300 times since I've had things that have been deleted. I've done things other than singles. I've done just random bonus uploads. So, I want to thank you guys for being here the entire time and, just kind of enjoying my material, doing what I do. I mean, you give me good ratings on 300 of them, and I will gladly keep it up. So, this one will be no exception. So, I decided to save this game in particular for a day kind of like today. And this is versus a guy by the name of Hikuro. I know him from way back in the day of my my other forums. And it was actually a really, really good game. So we're going to go ahead and play it back right now. Alright, now this was back in the day when Chandelure was still OU, so it's very dated to say the least. It was also before the point that I knew that, or before, someone pointed out that Signal Beam and Magic Guard on Alakazam is illegal. So that does happen, but just as an advance notice, there was probably a different way I could have dealt with that scenario. So, it doesn't really end up being too vital, so I figured I'd just bring it up right now. Anyways, I decided to lead off with Tentacruel, not thinking that I would lead off with Jolteon. I was like, you know what, I want to get these Toxic Spikes up as early as possible. I'm thankfully not seeing anything on this team that looks like it could set up rocks or any hazards of the sort. So as long as I can get one layer of Toxic Spikes, I'll have that advantage for when things switch in. But I do not want to, excuse me, I do not want to stay in and take a T-Bolt or anything like that. And I do have a Rotom exactly for that. So he's going to go for the T-Bolt and then the Volt Switch just to get some Switch initiative going. And I was like, you know what? I have T-Bolt. I don't want to Volt Absorb him because I'm going to look really stupid if he stays in. And I don't really want to overheat because he has a Suicune and a Chandelure. And I was like, oh yeah, let's go ahead and burn whatever comes in. And I was like, wait, that's a fire move too. That really got me nowhere. So he's beefed up on, +1. Now, the better thing he could have done is he probably could have killed me off with a +1 Fire Blast or Flamethrower or whatever he happens to be running. But I guess the reason he did that is because he didn't want my Tentacle coming in after. Now, what I don't know at the time is that this Chandelure is Specs, or at least that's what I'm thinking it is, because I sub up before his Shadow Ball. He doesn't really know how Murkrow actually works. So at this point, he realizes that I have priority on these things, so he's actually just going to go ahead and switch out to his Jolteon as I decide to go for the mean look, thinking that he might have stayed in. If I'd have done that on a turn earlier, then I probably could have trapped him because he doesn't have a boost on Shadow Ball because, not Flash Fire boosted or anything like that. But I decided to go for the Roost knowing full well that he has the Volt Switch anyway. I will get a little bit of, I think Life Orb applies right here. I'm completely forgetting. Yeah, it does. So, as long as I can keep subbing and roosting before Jolteon does his thing, then I can do 10% every turn. Or he'll do 10% to himself and I'll just end up being alive. So that's not a bad idea. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and Roost, not knowing what this Haxorus wants to do. I'm thinking maybe afterwards I can go ahead and Perish Song. This is still a pretty big threat, but I think at the time Hat was still purely physically defensive. And it turns out he's running Taunt. Now, I have seen Taunt on these things before, but the thing is I wasn't really expecting it on this one. Judging by the name, it's actually a breed of a friend of mine, so I should have actually expected that it had Taunt, but a little unfortunate as he's just going to go ahead and DD up. Now, if he had Outrage, I probably would have been in a world of hurt right here, because what I decided to do, I didn't think he would want to take an Ice Shard, so I went for the Icicle Crash instead. He's actually running DD Yachi. Now, that's interesting because it actually lets him take this hit pretty well. Thing is, it leaves him open to an Ice Shard next turn, so that's definitely going to force him out. I thought he might have wanted, to stay in for some reason, so I figured, I might as well not overpredict if he's going to do that. So, or if he's going to do anything else. So right there would have been the perfect opportunity to do it, but the thing is I kind of lost a big, I think this guy's my only priority, offensive priority on this team at that matter. So, I had to go for it. I didn't really have much of a choice, but I forced it out, and now I don't know what I'm going to do about it. I'm thinking about it, and it's like, if I don't manage this thing properly, it's going to run train through my team. So, I decided to sub up on the Switch of Suicune, knowing that if he has Roar, he'll use it. It'll be good to scat out his set, and to also get a sub up on the Switch. So I'm gonna go ahead and sub up and Roost up as this Jolteon comes in. He decides to go for a T-Bolt to break my sub. Probably a little bit of a misplay on his behalf because he could have just kept Volt Switching like he was doing earlier. And I'm just, gonna go for another sub just to get some more Life Orb Recoil and things like that. I haven't actually touched this Jolteon at all. This has all just been purely Life Orb Recoil, and, Hat's still in the green, still looking pretty good. So thing is he actually gets to switch out now. Now I need to pick what I'm gonna do about this Haxorus, and I decide that the best thing is probably gonna be to Perish Song, because what I can do is I can Perish Song, as he will more than likely end up taunting me, and then on the switch he will probably end up Dragon Dancing. And then he has time for one more attack, and then he either has to switch out or he's going to die. So here is the first turn of Perish Song. I'm actually going to go into my Tentacruel as he decides, to take that free opportunity to Dragon Dance. Now, I don't know what his fourth move is. Now, it could be Earthquake, it could be a lot of things. I'm actually thinking it's probably going to be Earthquake just to handle Steel types. Since, just running Dragon would be a little weird. You'd have to deal with Skarm some other way. But Earthquake makes sense, and, I switch out to Tentacruel to hopefully have him go for it. And he actually does go for it. Now, if he went for the Dragon Claw, that could have been really stupid on my behalf. But I step up here. He makes a smart play of going for a taunt before he dies. I don't know. I would have just switched out, recognizing how important Haxorus is. But now that he's lost it, I can definitely breathe a hell of a lot easier, since I have lost a couple of... I think I've lost, like... What is it? I think I lost my Rotom, but the thing is that I would have lost everything else to Haxorus. So now we're kind of on a little bit more of an even playing field, and that, I won't get my ass handed to me by Mr. Axeface over there. But now I bring in my Tentacruel, thinking that he'll either A, Leech Seed, or do something. Now, I was thinking that I could set up some Toxic Spikes here, and if he decided to go for the Leech Seed, I would get the Liquid Ooze on him, and that would probably force him out, which is why I didn't go out to Virizion. I don't really know why, so... I do still have Virizion for Shaman, but I do want the one layer of Toxic Spike, since he doesn't have any spinners, rather. And since I have Murkrow in right now, I can, try to stall to an extent and see what I can do. Thankfully, I don't get the Spec D drop, which is nice, so I'm actually just going to go ahead and be able to roost up on the switch, or I think I make a double switch. Now, what he actually ended up doing here is he switched out to Umbreon because he thought that if he came in on the Toxic Spikes, the Synchronize would apply. It does not. It only applies on, moves that actually happen. So, I guess that's good information to have. I've kind of known that since this game, and I didn't actually know it prior to this game. But I do a double switch into Virizion, I think expecting another Seed Flare, and I think that's why that happened. So that would kind of make sense why I did that double switch there. But I'm fully prepared for his Chandelure because I have Stone Edge. I'm prepared for Suicune because I have Leaf Blade. And I am prepared for Shaman, just because I can take his hits all day, barring he has Air Slash like me. But we missed a fuck ton of moves right there, in case you weren't paying attention. Like, 2 turns went by while I was talking about that. What was it? I missed Stone Edge, he missed Fire Blast, my close combat, just didn't end up connecting. It was just, Virizion just kind of sucks at his life right now. But at least he killed it off, and that's great. So, I'm thinking he's probably going to go for the Hidden Power Ice, so this is exactly why I saved my Tentacruel. To scout out, use some switch fodder, things like that, death fodder sort of thing. So, he goes for the Hidden Power. Now, I don't know what it is, but the fact that it hit me neutral, I'm thinking it's actually probably going to be Grass, which kind of makes sense, I would guess, in UU, for the fucking ground types and whatnot. But, since he's not planning on running this thing in OU, it's probably not Ice, so... I'm going to go ahead and roost up, and I think he just goes for the Volt Switch. I'm really, really hoping I can take this, so that way I can get some Toxic Spikes and some Poison. Things going, and I live it on 20. Now, this is going to be crucial because I need to survive for Suicune and Umbreon. Since he does have a lot of slower things left, a lot of his faster things have already been worn down. So, I do have Alakazam, I have this, I have Virizion versus his Jolteon, his Umbreon, and his Suicune. It's going to be pretty close. So, he decides to go for the Toxic on the Alakazam. Doesn't really end up mattering since this is a Magikarp one. Going back to what I said earlier, I'm pretty sure that any other one of my moves, barring Psychic, would have definitely taken him out from that range. If he wanted to go for the Wish from there or the Payback, I easily could have switched out as well. That was just kind of in a situation where he probably would have been fucked anyway. So, I decided to switch out. As Jolteon comes in, not knowing what he's going to go for, but he ends up going for this. Well, I should have suspected Shadow Ball. Thanks to Virizion's, natural Spec being able to take it reasonably well, and he ends up dying to Life Orb and Poison, which is why one layer of Toxic Spikes, depending on when you set it up in the battle, is sometimes better than 2. So, he has Natural Cure on this guy. It doesn't really matter since he'll have to switch out to Suicune, which will also get poisoned as well. I don't know his Suicune set. I just know it happens to be fairly defensive, just based on how well it took the Ice Shard. I mean, it's a resisted hit and whatnot, but he still took less than 1/16, which is, ugh, so... As for Seed Flare, it does not get the Spec D drops or anything like that, but poison damage is adding up pretty well, and I live to the point where I'm able to fire off a second close combat and take out the Shaman. Now, the miss from Umbreon earlier kind of mattered because if he did get the Toxic off, I would not have lived here, and as such, I would not have been able to get off this next attack. So, poison damage kind of coming back to bite him in the ass, or rather the lack of. but he does get, you know, the regular poison here. It does not end up mattering in the slightest, as I do learn that he does have rest. If this happened to be a crit, then that would have really sucked for him, and, you know, the Toxic Mist would have cost him the game. But it doesn't, and he's able to just rest off all the damage I just did, you know, and take off his poison status. Now, if I wanted to play really aggressively, I could have gone for the Swords Dance, but the thing is that, I don't know, I thought he would have taken me out at the end of the turn being at that high of health. So, right here, I'm going to go ahead and Roost, try to get some health back. Now, this is his last poke, so what I should have done right here, and thankfully I don't end up paying for it, is I should have Perish Songed on this turn. Now, what this means is that all I have to do is live for 3 turns, and that's it. So, I got this guy, I got Alakazam, and then I got... Actually, yeah, that's it. I have this guy and Alakazam. So I go for the Perish Song right now, and I don't know what he's going to end up pulling, but I go... Well, shit, let me see what's going on here. So he Sleep Talks, pulls a Surf. Since I'm low enough and I don't have any Spec D investment, I'm not going to live it, and Lil Hat goes down in one of these second to last turn, rather. Or third to last? Something like that. Anyways, Perish counts at 3. It just really depends on whether or not I can take, what is it, two Surfs? If he ends up pulling them, I think he's going to wake up fairly soon. So if he wakes up, he surfs. I can also, you know, just keep trying to kill him off with Psychic. I am a Life Orb Alakazam, so it's looking like a 3-hit KO, though. And I don't know what kind of damage that was on his Surf, but if that turned out to be minimum and he pulls a maximum on the next one, then I am just really screwed. So if I live this, I win. If I die, then I lose. But fortunately, I live it with 20. And, you know, I'm going to be able to kill him off with the Psychic next turn. If that didn't work for whatever reason and he rested on the previous turn, then he would have just died to Perish Song. So that leaves me with a somewhat narrow 1-0. You know, Hacks was kind of interesting, you know, kind of evened out, a little bit stacked in my favor, I suppose, what with the missing of the Toxics and whatnot. But I still had a lot of fun with it. I hope you guys did too. Oh my good God, I can't talk. Anyways, if you liked it, you know, you're welcome to leave a like, rating, comment, subscribe, do your thing. A little bit of a longer video, still hope you guys enjoyed it anyway. And that should do it out of me for Monday's video. I got some videos coming up for you later tonight. Just gonna keep doing my video editing thing and whatnot. Tournament people, I would like for you to have your matches done by tomorrow afternoon. I really want to get this thing done with. Since there's less and less people, you should be able to get your matches done quicker and quicker. So that kind of makes sense to me. Anyways, that'll do it out of me, and I will see you guys tomorrow.